A lot of people have been asking about that, about black holes and on and on and on and all of these conspiracy theories. Let's look at this. Noah says, what else can you think about? Black hole, Bermuda Triangle. And then Deji says, just like the movie Lost. I know it's preposterous, but is it preposterous, you think, Mary?
Don't answer, Mary, it's a trap!
In this business, we're always looking for that great story to hang our reputations on. But in the case of the still missing Malaysian jetliner, a once proud network might have gone a little too far and jumped the proverbial shark, especially when you consider one of their anchors was talking about the plane going into a black hole. This and much more about the media. Let's welcome back to MidPoint TV columnist, fashion standard for reporters everywhere, if you will. Hatless this week, I might point out. Joe Concha joins us. Joe, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I could change the hat thing by the end if need be.
If I get you to wear a Bruins hat, would you?
Never.
Okay.
Devils all the way, my friend.
Okay.
I'm calling from New Jersey. You see the little Wyckoff, New Jersey thing below that you're
I know, but I got to be sure, because we got to just make sure if you're going to wear a hat, we got to give you a classy one. It's all right. Don't worry about it. We'll get to that later. The CNN issue is really kind of interesting, because here's Charlie Ergen, the chairman of Dish Network, who's right now battling with Time Warner's Turner Broadcasting, saying we can do without CNN, which is, quote, not a top 10 network anymore unless they find the Malaysian plane. Granted, the ratings don't always say that they're dropping completely, but isn't it fair to say that this is a little bit of a fading label in some ways? They've lost a lot of what they once had.
Oh, absolutely. These aren't the days of Ted Turner anymore. But then again, when Turner took CNN to air in 1980, there was no Fox News, and there was no MSNBC, and there was no Newsmax, and there was no internet. There wasn't all this competition that broke up the pie so much. And then CNN lost some big talent over the years. That's certainly true. And now it seems like with everything polarized, with Fox taking a more conservative line and MSNBC obviously way to the left, CNN, the middle, doesn't necessarily have a lot of scraps left. There aren't a lot of independents out there, so to speak. So they can't take a political side. So what they've decided to do was go heavy on documentaries, the Anthony Bourdains, the Mike Rowe's, and those have been very successful. And then when a story happens like the Malaysian plane, like the Oklahoma tornadoes, like the Boston bombings, they go all in on it, banking on the fact that, okay, we're going to own this one story and try to take viewers away from those political networks that are out there like MSNBC and Fox. So while it's hurt the brand's credibility, it actually has resulted in better ratings under Jeff Zucker. They've gone from third to second. They'll never challenge Fox at first. That's totally true. But the strategy, I understand the integrity of the brand isn't what it used to be, but it is working to a certain extent. And quite frankly, I think it was the only route they can go with.
Well, we also just saw Jon Stewart making fun of the whole issue as well, and Stewart continues to be a guy that people quote, that look after when it comes down to news. But is it fair to say what he did is maybe where the future of news is? They reported it, they looked at it, and he mocked it. So indeed, in many ways, the public now wants to see a little bit of that. They don't want to take it as seriously as we once had it. He's setting a new trend and still continues to be the forebearer.
Oh, Ed, it's funny you mentioned Jon Stewart, because NBC, it was reported not too long ago, went to him before Chuck Todd and said, would you like to host Meet the Press? And Jon has actually confirmed that they did have at least initial discussions around that. So Deborah Turnus, who's the president of NBC News, saw what you just described, that maybe we need to make this even more infotainment than it is now. Stewart rightly turned down the offer. It wouldn't have worked out too well, particularly when it was the 14 writers giving him all his great material. So yeah, I think that's where things are going more, unfortunately, because how do we get our news now, Ed, right? We get it on our phones, and we get the who, what, when, where, why, how by just reading a story. What people are going more towards Newsmax, CNN, Fox, MSNBC is for perspective and opinion. Okay, what does it mean? What's your opinion on it? How should we think about this moving forward? So that's the future of news, more opinion and less hard news, Ed, because of the way we consume it.
I got about 35, 40 seconds left here. Your take on Nancy Pelosi snapping back at a female reporter asking if she was perhaps too old and should retire.
Well, she should retire, Ed. She's lost most of her allies in Congress. They'll be resigning soon. She is 74 years old. She's had 13 terms. And as House leader for the Democrats, they've lost every election since she took office in 2007. Wins and losses mean a lot. Age does as well. I think it's time to go, Ed.
And perhaps don't always bring up the fact that they're just going after her because she's a woman. She is, as you point out, 74 years of age. I think it was a fair question.
It was, and it came from a woman. So she tried to play the sexist card with another woman. You know, Democrats did that during this election. They played the race card, they played the war on women, and we saw the result. Republicans likely getting 9 Senate seats, getting more seats in the House, and a damaged president. So under Pelosi, it just hasn't worked out well. It has nothing to do with her gender, Ed. That's certainly
Welcome
for sure.
to the new day, and enjoy your retirement one day, Nancy. Joe Concha, always a pleasure, my friend. I'll send you that Bruins hat. Talk to you soon.
Go Devils.
Break, and we return with the other side of the immigration amnesty debate. It's coming up right here on MidPoint.